A lot of us have been in a situation in Destiny Rising where we're kind of just waiting for something to happen. Whether it's waiting for something to happen in-game or waiting for something to be announced out of game. The devs did communicate with us in Destiny Rising, and they did so with this Discord post right here, titled Development Update Strengthening Estella, Cross-Server Plays, and More. So I'm going to be reading through all of this, breaking down all of the changes and adjustments that they are making, as well as some of the concerns that I may have with a few of the decisions that they've made. All of the changes that they've put out right here by themselves are 100% good choices. This is exactly what we've been asking for this entire time, just more communication from the Destiny Rising dev team so that we can have better expectations going forward and to also just make sure that the game isn't being abandoned. To start out, the post reads, Dear Lightbearers, over the past few weeks we've been listening to your feedback and discussions, including many valuable suggestions and opinions. These voices are incredibly important to us as they help us better understand expectations and needs. Through this developer update, we would like to share our recent changes and progress and provide more detailed explanations and background on some frequently discussed topics. Moving forward, we'll continue to keep you updated on our thoughts and progress through similar updates. So what this reads is essentially just letting us know that we should definitely expect to see more of these development updates in the future. I don't know how frequent we're going to be seeing these, but it might be another additional thing, having regular blog posts like this, maybe similar to a This Week at Bungie or This Week in Destiny that we've had, but maybe not quite a weekly thing. Though I would definitely be interested in seeing a weekly dev blog, especially if they are going to be rather meager in length. So starting out, we have adjustments to character strengths. Following the release of the major updates for Act 2 Season 1, the community has been actively discussing the strength of the new character Hellhest and the prior mythic character Estella, as well as the endgame sandbox. Shortly after the update, we addressed some bugs that caused confusion and frustration among players through a hotfix. Now we'd like to delve deeper into these topics with you through this update. Destiny Rising aims to bring a fresh experience to the Destiny IP through rich, diverse combat experiences, with each character offering a unique combat style and value. We hope players can enjoy the growth and combat joy of different characters and find their favorite playstyles in various challenges. To this end, we've designed diverse levels and difficulties to ensure each character's unique traits can shine in suitable scenarios in the long run. We don't want any single character to dominate all playstyles. Instead, we aim to achieve balance so each character can stand out in specific circumstances. That right there is definitely something to give us a bit more hope, at least in terms of character balance going forward. Right now, we are definitely running into some situations where there are just some characters that are head and shoulders above the rest as of right now. While I'd say a good portion of the cast remains decently strong, in a majority of scenarios, you would largely only use a handful of units, at least if you're trying to be the most effective possible. So if this is going to be a situation where they're going to be looking at all of the different units and trying to bring them a lot more in line with the highest power levels of characters such as Ningfei and Hellhest, then that's definitely going to be really, really good going forward, especially for characters such as Ikora, Finala, Kaber, Xuanwei, basically everybody who isn't a limited 5-star or Ningfei. In terms of specific character designs, Hellhest and Estella are meant to thrive in different environments. Hellhest excels at high burst damage in short periods, while Estella is better suited for stable, long-term output. Based on community feedback and data analysis, we found that Estella hasn't met expectations in some endgame game modes, particularly in environments where she's supposed to shine. Part of the reason is also the current endgame environment doesn't provide enough challenges for players with fully progressed characters. I'm I'm not really sure what they particularly mean by that. That is definitely an odd statement, to say the least, saying that the endgame environment doesn't provide enough challenges for players with fully progressed characters. I don't know if they're referring to like a T6 unit or a maxed out relic level 18 exotic maxed out character. It really depends on what their definition of a fully progressed character is, because I definitely don't think it's going to be the best thing going forward to balance endgame, or at least the regularly resetting endgames such as Calamity Ops and Expanse, around a 100% maxed out unit. We are speeding up our content roadmap to enrich players' endgame playlists with fun and challenging content. So now that right there is definitely something that is music to my ears. The fact that they are speeding up the content roadmap. Now, I wonder if this means that are we going to have shorter patch cycles? Maybe going from a 4-week per act cycle to a 3-week per act cycle, cutting the endgame resets in about a third. So instead of it being 14 days per endgame reset, it might be a bit closer to 10 days per endgame reset. But it could also be situations where they are adding more content to the game to essentially give more diversity in all of the different activities that we are playing through. It is something that we will have to indeed stay tuned for, and it's quoted from a system designer. Therefore, we've decided to adjust Estella's skill kit and related weapons to improve her competitive edge in the endgame content while preserving her unique playstyle. These adjustments will take into effect either from today's hotfix or by Thursdays after our weekly maintenance. These specifics are as follows. Estella's adjustments: recharge time for Misfortune's Guide has been reduced from 11 seconds to 8 seconds. Misfortune's Guide has a significant impact on Estella's combat flow. Reducing this recharge time grants her more room for error in battles. The base damage Bewitched Illusions deal per hit has been increased from 90 to 100. The base damage Violent Reverie deals per hit has been increased from 210 to 230. While firing weapons for a short time, Estella's 2 signature abilities will support left-handed mode, and what they mean by this is probably just a botched translation. Estella will be able to cast her abilities, her signature abilities, without interrupting firing, and Estella can begin firing at any point while casting. This adjustment will appear in-game after our weekly maintenance on Thursday. In some situations, Estella can gain corruption very efficiently, which results in the need to repeatedly cast her signature ability. With these changes mentioned above, casting the signature abilities will have less of an impact on firing weapons. All around, this is going to be a good change. I don't really know why they said it will support left-handed mode. Frankly, the only left-handed mode that most players would really concern themselves with are ZZZ players. If you know, you know. All around, this is going to make Estella's playstyle feel a lot better, even though she is still going to have a pretty big flaw in the fact that she still doesn't have any mobility throughout her kit whatsoever. The turret play that Estella does have is going to be significantly better, especially due to the increased damage that she's going to be able to output with her Misfortune's Guide, the base damage of her Bewitched Illusions, as well as the Violent Reverie attack, and the major change of just allowing her to continue firing while casting her summons. It's definitely going to be a lot smoother going forward, and has really made me a bit more interested in playing Estella going forward. She's now going to be a bit more of a higher action per minute character, doing a lot of things at once with very little interruption. And beyond that, we have buffs to the exotic machine gun Heir Apparent, and this will also be implemented after Thursday's maintenance. First off, they're increasing the precision damage multiplier from 1.2 to 1.35. The damage boost from the Catalyst Band 2 provides when repeatedly firing has been adjusted from 5% per stack up to 10 stacks to 10% per stack up to 5 stacks. This allows the wielder to reach the max damage boost quicker when switching targets. The barrel spinning up duration has been decreased from 1.2 seconds to 1 second pre-catalyst, and from 0.8 seconds to 0.6 seconds post-catalyst, and this change will let the weapon begin firing sooner. Finally, the length of time allotted before the barrel will need to spin up again after firing has ceased has been extended from 2.5 to 4 seconds. Now, if the wielder casts an ability while firing or stops shooting for a short duration, they won't need to prepare the barrel again, significantly improving how the weapon feels. I imagine this is going to be a bit more for when Estella casts her super. This is going to make the heir apparent even better option for Estella. It was already a pretty decent one, but with the changes to allow her to continue to cast her signature abilities while still firing, and also when she uses her super, she doesn't have to spin up the barrel again and can immediately start firing. This is going to make it a much more potent option for her, especially in DPS scenarios, because it's got a really high magazine size of 200. All around, this is going to be an amazing change for Estella in general. I'm really curious to see if this will bring her more viable in endgame content, even due to the fact that she doesn't have any mobility throughout her kit whatsoever. This is the first time we've tweaked Estella and heir apparent stats. We will continue to monitor the character performance and balance in our core play modes. We'll continue adjustments as needed to ensure the character meets our expectations for a rich, diverse combat experience. Each time we make such balance changes, we'll communicate our design philosophy with our community. I'd say great changes all around for Estella. Now, this definitely isn't really a situation in which a weak character is being buffed to being strong. Estella was already a strong character, but was largely outsized in endgame content due to the fact that she doesn't have mobility whatsoever. And this doesn't really address that issue itself. This also doesn't really do anything to a lot of the characters who are actually struggling in this game. Great changes for Estella. I'm sure all the Estella mains and simps out there will be having an even better time with her, especially for the people who play left-handed mode. I would much rather see changes to a lot of the weaker units in the game currently, especially when we're talking about characters like Tantu and a lot of the 4-star characters, such as, well, pretty much all of them if we're being completely honest. Hopefully we do get to see more buffs like this in the future, bringing the characters a lot more in line with each other. Next up, we have the endgame activity Expanse. As one of the main endgame activities, Expanse is a key focus of our design efforts. Each challenge cycle, we dynamically adjust the level design and modifier pool to create the intended challenge experience. However, with ongoing character updates, varying synergy between characters and perks, we test and adjust the activity extensively each cycle to ensure it offers a balanced and fun experience. As a result, we regularly update the time benchmarks for different tiers of Expanse. During testing, we found some parts were overperforming, which would disrupt the balance of Expanse for different characters. Therefore, we made adjustments during the Season 1 latter half maintenance. However, as mentioned in the previous hotfix notes, some level configurations were incorrectly incorporated due to errors. Combined with other bugs, these issues led to a poor player experience in Expanse during the early part of Act 2 Season 1. In the upcoming seasonal updates and Expanse updates, we'll conduct more comprehensive testing and balancing of level quality, perk values, and challenge experiences for all characters. We're also working on new content for Expanse to expand its possibilities further. And something that will also be nice knowing this from the Expanse is that all of these updates to Expanse will also trickle down into Chaos, making the artifact grinding experience better. This isn't really anything more than just a promise that they're going to be doing a bit better with this endgame mode itself. However, it is a little bit interesting to me to see so much attention on the Expanse itself when Calamity Ops very much the more problematic game mode currently in Destiny Rising, especially if we compare the fact that the incandescent clusters make a significantly higher impact on a character's performance compared to the artifactual clusters that we get from the Expanse. But of course, this is something that we will have to wait on and see more in the future, because we will be seeing more dev blogs and more updates from devs going forward. And finally, we have one of the biggest pieces of news in this development blog, and this is probably going to be somewhere on the thumbnail or in the title of the video. It is going to be the server merging announcement. So, starting out, they state, we understand that server isolation since launch has limited interaction between global players. We're exploring technical solutions to reduce barriers to co-play. After ongoing efforts by our technical team, we are excited to announce that we plan to roll out the first phase of server merging in Season 2. So this is coming extremely soon. Currently, we have our 4 regional server groups: North America, South America, EMEA, and in the first phase, we'll merge the North America and Latin America servers and the EMEA and APAC servers. Once servers are merged, players from different regional servers can freely add friends, join fire teams, and play together. They'll also compete together on new leaderboards, compete together on new leaderboards. This is just the first step in our server merging plan. The development team is still exploring the possibility of merging all server groups in the future. We hope that one day players from any region could freely team up and play together with friends from around the world. One thing to note, however, while we've optimized as much as possible on our servers, latency due to physical distance is unavoidable. We'll prioritize making players with closer geographic proximity, but when playing with teammates from farther away, you may experience higher latency than usual. We'll look into this performance of the server merges once they roll out. We'll share more details about the merging in a separate update closer to release. Now, this right here is definitely one of the biggest changes and announcements that we have across this entire development update. Server merging has been something that we have been wanting since before the game even came out, and this is definitely a huge step in the right direction. A lot of people that I have seen comment on this have more so said that this is likely a change or an addition due to the dwindling server population, but frankly, I'm not really sure how much of the case that could even be, because if we remember, as we all know, game development does take a good amount of time. Not only a decent amount of time to actually do the work for it, but also to plan it out and roll it out. You usually do not see the fruits of a change of decision or direction until many months afterwards. So this is likely something that they had on their radar from the start, maybe didn't go for it as hard initially, but quickly pivoted when they saw the intense desire to have a merged server throughout the entire game. Can't wait to play with a latency of 500. Well, you'll only be playing with a latency of 500 if you're playing with people from across the world. But I'm sure you would much rather have the option to play with another person rather than being stuck in a dwindling player base in an isolated server. However, there is one big concern when it comes to server merging, and that has to do with Calamity Ops specifically. Currently, Calamity Ops has had a bit less of an impact due to the fact that the player populations have been so disparate. The Calamity Ops ranks are based off of performance and competition with other players. There are going to be a lot more people focused in on these different leaderboards, making the experience that has already been a big struggle for the majority of the player base even more difficult as the competition gets even tighter and tighter, especially when we're looking at the top players in the overseer rank. When we get into a situation where it's all these servers linked up together in the future, I would really hope to see some adjustments to Calamity Ops, maybe even getting rid of the rank-based rewards entirely. I mean, even without these server adjustments, that would likely have been the best decision regardless, because competing for necessary character level up materials does not feel good, especially to the people who have a lot less time to be dedicating into a game such as this. Finally, we have some closing words, and right here they say, thank you to every Lightbearer for your support and feedback. We know the game is driven by your passion and participation. We'll continue to listen to the community, improve the gaming experience. This first batch of changes is just the beginning. In our next update, we'll share our latest roadmap, including our plans and focus areas for the coming months. Stay tuned. Until next time, the Destiny Rising team. Now, I gotta say, this was a major surprise for me this morning. I was kind of just expecting to log in, have the same usual silence from Destiny Rising, from the developers, and just essentially be waiting for the next content drop. But this development blog, and especially the promise of more communication in the future, including a roadmap, has given me a lot more hope for this game going forward. There are a lot of amazing changes in this, and the main thing that we have to focus up on is making sure that this is is not just like a little jump forward. This has to be something that builds momentum into the future so that we can continue to get even better changes going forward. Because as we all are probably aware, and is that this is a Destiny game. Okay. And what that means is that regardless of how the game is right now, this is still essentially one of our only sources of this kind of gameplay. There are a lot of people like me who essentially just can't get this kind of gameplay experience from any other source or franchise. Frankly, I would just be more happy than ever to see all these changes build up and keep building on top of each other, with each update and development blog greatly improving the game, bringing it up to a higher and higher standard. Hopefully, this is just the first step in a very long road in which, hopefully, at the end of it, we have a really, really good game. That's just about everything that I have to say on this development blog. It was definitely a big surprise, a bit weightier than I initially anticipated, especially when it came to the server merging announcement and how soon it's actually coming. I really hope that it all goes well, and I also hope they do well to adjust the game based on the very visible concerns that are apparent with some of these changes. But if you are enjoying my coverage of Destiny Rising and would like to see more of it in the future, as well as other games such as the upcoming Duet Night Abyss, be sure to subscribe to my channel to keep up to date on all things regarding it and these titles. If you have any thoughts or any of your own thoughts about these changes, whether it's the Estella buff or the endgame promises or the major change with the server merging and the future communication, be sure to let me know all about that in the comments down below, whether you think that these are all amazing changes, if it's a bit too little for you, or if it's more than you could have ever asked for. No matter what, let's just continue this conversation. With that all out of the way, I'm going to have to thank you all so very much for watching, especially watching to the very end. And as always, I will see you all next time.